Welcome. The time is 6:03 IT. Are you all set? Thumbs up? Okay. Board?
I'm good.
We're good? Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody here this evening. This is the Select Board meeting of Monday, October 7th, 2024, and we are here in the Select Board chamber. The time is 6:03. I'd like to make a motion to bring this meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the meeting for October 7th.
Okay, I'd also like to remind everyone that MCM is taping the meeting and invite you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, this board will be going into executive session, and I would like the board to listen in as I make this motion. The board now moves to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing strategy regarding collective bargaining and to conduct a collective bargaining, to hear a grievance or grievances filed by AFSMCE Local 1700 Clerical Unit, and will return to public session at the conclusion of the executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded to go into executive session. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to go into executive session and to return to public session at the conclusion of the executive session.
Excellent, thank you. 2024, we are coming back into regular session from being in executive session. I'd like to make a motion to do so. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to return to public session.
All righty. Before we get started, I'd like to make the board aware of one of our items this evening, which is action item number 1, is a discussion and vote on host community agreement for Health Circle, Inc. And that particular action item, I'd like to make a motion to table to a later date, preferably a Zoom meeting on Thursday, to be determined. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to table until Thursday.
Okay, so
It's hard to hear.
IT? Excuse me? Okay, I'll speak.
Maybe because the AC's going, so.
Perhaps. Everybody's comfortable as far as the AC.
I know you can talk.
I know, you've heard me on the fields, yeah. So the action item number 1 has been motioned to table. Okay. This evening, I also have chair comments, and I am going to waive those comments this evening, and I am going to mention to the board that we have several items, or several individuals here. We have 9 individuals that wish to speak in our 2 minutes of our public comment. I don't know if we'll get to all of those in that 15-minute period. However, we will see how that goes. So before we get to that, I would like to call upon our town administrator for his report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll do my report from our last meeting and then quickly for this meeting. My report from September 23rd had my weekly call-in WATD to talk about early voting, presidential election, MBTA issue, and the Select Board's meeting agenda. Participated in the MMA's nominating committee to select a slate of officers for 2025. Had a meeting with Meg LeMay, our town accountant, to review the following month's financial postings, general information and status of the FY24 closeout, and information needed for certain purchases by departments. Meeting with Diane Scopanetti from the JPH Foundation to talk about civic involvement, mental health issues in and around our town. Participated in a site visit to an MHOP house in Kent Park That will be on our agenda actually later this evening, 115 Revere Street. Meeting with Andrew Stewart, our building commissioner, to discuss some complaints that I've received regarding the jetty and his neighbors. Meeting with Acting Chief LaSalva to review the FY25 budget spend rate, OT, the new bathrooms and locker rooms. Participated in the Heroes Act seminar that was hosted by our veterans officers, Karen and Lisa, and our legislative delegation, Senator O'Connor, Rep. Kearney. About 140 veterans participated. I know our chair was there, and this was held at the VFW. Attended and participated in the Select Board chair and the Fire Department's 9/11 ceremony held at the fire headquarters. Attended and participated in Mayflower Municipal Health Group monthly meeting. The steering committee locked and reviewed the steering committee funding analysis and loss ratios. I'm happy to report Mayflower Municipal Health is in good shape, has about $31 million in its fund balance. Participated in interviews with Invest Boston 24 to discuss the town of Marshfield, the business community, and the partnership with our chamber, government, and schools regarding the Atlantic Resiliency Innovation Institute. Hosted a meeting with NextGrid Facilities and Matt Parent, our energy consultant, to discuss a number of projects that will be moving ahead in the process to get those completed. Hosted a meeting with Fred Russell, our facility director, and Tony Bullock to review South River School project installation of the ADA ramp, town hall modernization project with new front and back doors. We hope to have installed before the winter. Other projects discussed were the GAR Hall project, the fire headquarters bathroom and locker rooms, Marshfield Hill Station roof project, Martinson roof replacement project, library bathroom update, and winterization of our buildings. Meeting with Greg Guimont and Karen Horn, our assistant planner, to review the MBTA warrant article and information to be presented at the September 25th public information meeting. Had a meeting with Chief Tavares to review a number of ongoing issues, including early voting, special town meeting, flannel jam, and others. Participated in the special select board meeting to issue a peddler's license for a person selling clothing in Marshfield. Attended the Korean War Veteran Cookout at the DAV. Attended Lobster Fest 2024. Large crowds, no issues with parking. Buses transported people from the schools. No issue for the fishermen with access to the pier or the ramps, etc. Hosted a meeting with Carol Hamilton and some other Council on Aging board members to review their FY24 closeout and FY25 budget. Participated in an interview with Michael Zides from Troop 101 regarding photovoltaic and school roof improvements projects. Hosted a meeting with Josephine Bonafini and Sheila Connors from Seaside Gardeners regarding the Route 3A and Summer Street Island with the Daniel Webster sign. They are hoping that I can get the school to maybe fix the sign. They do all the flowers that are there. Hosted a monthly department head meeting where we talked about, focus was really on financial, working with the Munis system, closing the FY24, working on 25, and moving ahead on the 26 budget. Participated in a tour of Cedar Grove Cemetery Historic Graves with Tom Whalen. A number of graves been knocked over and in need of repair. We need to, isolate some funds to be able to do an analysis of how many graves are going to need to be repaired. Had a meeting with Sean Strobel regarding financial policies that need to be updated. Participated in a conference call with Bob Galvin and Bill Finn regarding the Veterans Park project. Review of the bids. The board will actually be issuing that this evening. Meeting with John Patterson to review ongoing playground repairs, ADA compliance, necessary improvements necessary to increase accessibility. Participated in a goodbye event at Hadad's. Participated in the MMA's Police and Fire Chiefs Committee to discuss latest issues with civil service. Participated in the Housing Trust meeting where we discussed funding, was able to secure through the legislature and help from Senator Patrick O'Connor and State Rep. Kearney. They were able to get the town $100,000 to do a feasibility study on a piece of land in North Marshfield and $30,000 to update the affordable housing plan. Hosted a meeting with 2 residents regarding grave issues at Couch Cemetery and some options to resolve those issues with the help of Town Council Bob Galvin and DPW Superintendent. October 7th, that's for the one for today. Participated in a financial meeting with Tom Miller, Patrick Sullivan, the new superintendent, Sean Strobel, and Meg LeMay regarding closing out the FY24 school budget. and loading in the FY25 school budget. Participated in the opioid fund committee where we discussed updating the funds that are available, survey distribution website, and items up for discussion at our next meeting. Did an interview with Bob Goitis from MCM regarding early voting at Town Hall and where people actually vote on Election Day. Hosted a meeting with the Emory Senate, Karen Paulette, to talk about the HEROES Act and timeline for implementation and town meeting votes that will be necessary for those changes. Meeting with Shelley Goring from the Mass Housing Partnership with Lynn Fidler and Karen Horn. Finalize our discussion and goal strategies of implementation, monitoring, and development. We'll discuss those at our next trust meeting. Participate in the public hearing hosted by the Planning Board, the MBTA issues. Participated in a webinar on opiate settlement funds and eligible programs. Participated in a weekly update with Fred Russell, our facility director, on a number of ongoing projects, the ones that I previously mentioned, and also Daniel Webster chimneys. Attended Plymouth County ARPA meeting with Treasurer O'Brien, the county commissioners regarding filing deadlines and spend downs for the requested funds. Had a meeting with the resident Tony Frangi, a business owner in town, to address some concerns regarding his property. And participated in the fire chief screening committee meeting, which we had last week. Took a tour of 120 Enterprise Drive, the location of the second marijuana facility. We took some pictures, and we'll hear more about that project. And then finally attended the Veterans Memorial Sign hosted by our veterans agent, Karen Paulette and Lisa Potts, the assistant. Signs will be placed in the neighborhood of those veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice, their life, to protect our freedom. That's my report.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we will start with a public comment period of our Select Board meeting this evening. I'd like to remind everybody that 2 minutes of speaking, you'll be timed out. Total time for this public comment period is 15 minutes. It will not exceed that amount of time. And signing this list does not guarantee an opportunity to speak. I will go down the list until the public comment period is over. If you are asking a question and would like a follow-up response, please leave your contact information below. So people have left their addresses, and 2 individuals have left their emails. So if you'd like to add your emails at the end of this meeting, you can certainly reach out to Kate or Jenna tomorrow. So we'll start with Muriel Tauchi. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce Tauzi. Feel free to take the podium.
And I'll just give a warning when there's like 10 seconds up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have the 2 minutes, yes. When you're ready.
Wait, is this already on?
Yeah.
Okay. Back in August, I went to a housing authority meeting. It was really an extremely unprofessional meeting. It's the most unprofessional meeting I've ever been to. Phones were ringing, people were talking, and it was the very first time I'd been to a housing authority meeting. And after the meeting, me and my 2 friends were singled out by a woman named Cecilia, and she told us that we needed to be more respectful of T-Rock residents because we were guests at the meeting. And we are residents of of Marshfield. I thought anybody could go there. We were told that we changed the tone of the meeting just by our mere presence. We felt intimidated by the residents, and especially after a gentleman sitting in front of me wanted Joe Pesovic to resign, and she asked him why he was bringing up something from a year ago. And after that, it just seemed like the walls were closing in around us at the meeting, and nothing was done by the board. The Maples, they talked about the Maples as well, tying into the sewer system and paying T-Rock $25,000, and Joe pointed out it was a DPW issue and not a housing authority issue, and every member on that board was fighting against him. I couldn't believe it. I wrote a letter to the housing authority twice, never heard back, and I just feel like the way this meeting is run, it should be moved to a neutral place such as the town hall, so we don't have to feel intimidated when we go. And everything's on tape, and me and my friends feel like this is unprofessional, unethical behavior towards the taxpayers. And if we should be talking about anybody being removed, it should be Cecilia, because you should never be intimidating the residents of this town. And the irony of all of this is they had a big sign in the front of the room that said, that said spread kindness. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina Shea, Cariswell Street, Marshfield.
I'm curious why public comment is at the beginning of the meeting. It's pretty hard to address anything that you're going to be discussing at the beginning of the meeting. I think that Joe is poking a bear that somebody wants to silence. And if anybody should be looked into, perhaps it is James Morathis.
Thank you. Jackie Mason, 1415 Ocean Street.
I'm going to read a few lines from an email Mike wrote to Bob Galvin. Bob, I just got off the phone with James Morathis. He was calling to say that Joe Pesovich is intimidating board and the residents. He brings a group of zombies to each meeting with him. He said that Joe filed a complaint with the AG regarding an ONL violation that was baseless. He is hoping that is enough to remove him from his board. He wanted me to share this info and ask you what you recommend. So I will write down my email so you can respond to this. But I would like to know, is this what Bob Galvin recommended? And I have been attacked by these same residents who are intimidated in this email from school issues to playgrounds. So if I chose to run for a seat in this town, is this what I should expect as well? I look forward to your response.
Thank you. Eric Murphy, 252 Ocean Street.
Good evening, everyone. Eric Murphy, Ocean Street. I would like, first, before my time starts, I would like to waive my 2 minutes here tonight if there is going to be public speaking when the conversation of the Joe Pesovich article comes up, or is that going to be closed to public speaking?
It will be closed to public speaking.
Okay,
But
so I'll-
typically, I
so I'll-
wouldn't add into the public comment portion.
Okay,
But
so I'll say what
I
I'm
will
going to
in
say
this
now
case.
rather
Yes,
than
yes.
later on. I've been in town for 50 years, and apparently, I guess I am a zombie by people who live in this town and work in this town. I've been voted into this town. I went to one of the meetings, the most recent meeting, and it was hostile. It was people getting in your face, sitting next to you, asking, why are you here? Someone couldn't hear, and they said, could you please turn down the air conditioning? The board didn't say yes. The people in the room, the residents, said no, and the board just shut up and be quiet. Meanwhile, both doors outside are wide open, so the air conditioner is on clearly so no one can hear. 10 minutes later, we ask, can we turn the air conditioner down again? No one can hear. And I turn to the maintenance person who is paid for by the board, and he looks at me and says, I can't, they won't let me. To the residents. This board needs to move to another building that is not on site. It is the asylum is being run by the inmates, and they are not listening. The board does what the people say in that room, and they are not listening to what Joe is asking. Joe just wants questions. Joe was voted in as an elected official by a lot of people who don't want to see their votes just thrown away simply because the chairman of the board should run the meeting. And if the chairman of the board cannot run the meeting and have peaceful conversations with another person on the board, then they need to step down and let someone else do it who can.
Thank you. Kerry Richardson, 115 Cross Street.
Kerry Richardson, Chairman of the Board of the Marshfield Housing Authority. I want to thank everybody who's here this evening and appreciate your comments as to what you say about the board and the actions that are occurring at the board. I'd like to read a letter that was sent to the town administrator and also the town council this afternoon. And this is written by James Marathis, Executive Director of the Marshfield Housing Authority.
What's the date on the letter?
The date of the letter is today. It has come to my attention the Board of Selectmen are having a meeting tonight to discuss whether to move ahead with a public hearing to discuss the removal of Commissioner Pesovich. Please note the Board of Commissioners for the Marshfield Housing Authority have requested this hearing because of the continuing inappropriate behavior of Mr. Pesovich as a commissioner. The law leaves the power to the Board of Selectmen to carry out their responsibility by having a hearing to determine if the removal is justified. Mr. Pesovich recently called one of our residents a stupid old hag publicly on social media posting. The resident was visibly upset, felt violated and harassed. By not providing the authority with a fair hearing, you're permitting this type of behavior to continue. The residents in Marshfield deserve to be heard and represented. The board members serving on the board with Mr. Pesovich have legitimate concerns and reasons for requesting the hearing for his removal. I urge you to allow the authority the due
10
process to
seconds.
remove Mr. Pesovich. It's unfortunate the members of the BOC of MHA need to turn to the selectmen. At a previous special meeting, Commissioner Pesovich was given a warning.
Time.
He was asked to take classes, and at that meeting,
Sir,
Time.
don't worry. Your time is up.
thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Cecilia, no, sir. Cecilia Del Gardillo? Genevieve Lane, Marshfield?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi. So I didn't prepare anything, and the comments today on Facebook were unnecessary, quite frankly, in my opinion. I would strongly recommend that everybody look at the recording on August 6th. 42 minutes and 28 seconds, 43 minutes and 40 seconds, and then at 1 hour and 50 seconds. There you could hear the interactions between everybody, including myself. And again, I could only speak for myself, but I know that it was actually felt amongst the other people and the residents that we were glad to have other residents join us. That's fine. And when I said the tone of the whole meeting is different when we have other residents come to the meeting, I meant it. And I think it's a good thing that people come to the meeting, which is their prerogative, and everybody should be involved in the town. But the reason why I want to say something is that there is not them and us and you and they, and we're all residents of the same town. We're all looking to get the same thing for our town, for it to be a good, healthy place for either our kids or elderly people. Whether you live in the hills or whether you don't, it doesn't matter. And I think we should all be involved. And I think it's a good thing that you were there, and I said it. And in your post, you did say it, but then it turned a different way. I don't know where the translation went and how other people got a different impression that it was a negative thing. I am
10 seconds.
I am responsible for being on the Housing Commission and making sure that I do my due diligence with the residents.
Time.
And yes, it is my time to, it is my responsibility to stand up. to them.
Time. Thank you. Okay. How much more time do we have in the 15-minute?
6:50. We're just about 10 seconds.
10 seconds remaining.
It was,
We have
10 or 15.
We have 15 minutes.
4 minutes we have.
We have 4 minutes remaining, so that should give us enough time for we have three left. I don't want to waste my time talking about it. So Madeline Daly, 5 McCarthy Lane.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Absolutely.
I come here to represent Joe Pesovich. I've heard many things said by the board. First, I'm going to start off with quoting a previous Select Board member that Mr. Kelly took his seat. He has posted, an elected official has earned their position and should be given respect of that position without belittling, insults, or attacks. I have witnessed Mr. Pesovich being ridiculed on Facebook by the person that is in this room tonight, took his financial information on Facebook. I mean, trashed him publicly so many times. I've gone to the meetings. It's a hostile environment. The board does not deliver Mr. Pesovich his documents in time. That's always a ring around. He asks questions, they're not answered, he's ignored. People look to Maracas, am I saying that name right? If Joe asks a question, they have to look to him for an answer, and he gives the yes or the no quietly. The last meeting I was there, they were concocting a code of conduct document that definitely wasn't in compliance. They did not seek legal counsel, or they did not go to the Massachusetts Housing Authority to get that approved. I've also known that Maracas is the one that needs to be removed from the board. He's currently under investigation by the Hingham Housing Authority for handling of funds. I've also was told that somebody asked a tenant why were they so aggressive towards Mr. Pesovich, and they stated that they were told by Maracas that they would lose their benefits. Scare tactics? I think not. I don't think the board is handling the tenants the way they should be. The harassment is constantly coming from the tenants, and that's what I've witnessed, I've seen, and the person that
10 seconds.
that stated harassed Mr. Pesovich violently on Facebook was removed from those accounts.
Time.
Thank you.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Don Clark? This should give you enough time.
Hi, Don Clark, T-Rock Gardens. Thank you for letting me speak. First, I just wanted to start off by saying I missed the last couple of meetings. I wanted to personally thank Chairperson Ms. Fiddler and Vice Chair Mr. Darcy for the overdose awareness and suicide prevention. It was very important to a lot of people in this town. I'd like to just follow up by stating, yes, I did ask Mr. Pesovich to resign, which is my right as a member of the in the meeting. And I was immediately attacked by one of the people in this room saying I was bullying him by asking him to resign. The meetings have definitely taken a different tone since these people have come, which is their right to come, but everybody should be civil. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 1 minute left.
20 seconds.
20 seconds left.
Somebody on.
That's not, unless they were here to sign in. So it has, unless Dana, Alf, it's literally 10 seconds left. If you have something very brief to say?
No, that's fine.
Okay, very good, thank you. So
You
that
are all
that
violating your
So that
rights here.
concludes, excuse me, so that concludes the portion of our public comment portion of our select board meeting this evening. Could you please hand this to Kate for me? Thank you. Okay. We have 2 appointments this evening, Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, proposed Wrexham Beach project. Eve? Is she here or online?
I'm here, Anthony Krintich.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Just a second, before you get started. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Anthony Krintich. I'm from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. Myself and my colleague Eve are working on a research project to increase access and availability of coastal ocean observations. We're doing that through placing new land-based instruments up and down the south shore from Duxbury, where we've already installed a piece of equipment, Situate, and we'd like to also put one at Wrexham Beach in Marshfield. We've been through the Conservation Commission for a request for determination of applicability. It was a negative determination, and so we're here to talk about gaining access to the Wrexham Beach facility via like a use agreement with the town to be able to place the instrument at that location.
Thank you. So, Michael, there has been other towns that have used this or have taken them up on this particular project. Yep.
It has, that is
Yep.
correct.
Can you explain to the public and to the board where we stand with this particular project? I know that
Yep.
it's got to go through the building
Sure.
department, et cetera, yeah.
No, Madam Chair, so they went, the most important thing is they went before Conservation. Conservation reviewed it, gave them some stipulations that they will have to follow, but they were in favor of it. What they're gonna be doing is they're gonna putting devices, it's a little shed, it's in your packet, you'll see what it looks
Yeah.
like. The instrumentation in there will monitor the wind, the wave action, things like that. They wanna be charting that information. They're doing it, I think, in Marshfield, Cohasset, Situate, and some other communities. And, Woods Hole, they're an expert at doing these types of projects. And it's a 2-year commitment. They'll pay the electricity. What they'll have to do is they'll have to sign a licensing agreement with us. So if the board approves this, it will be pending all the other permits that are required through their visit to Conservation, as well as a licensing agreement signing with the board. There'll be language in there. What will allow them to do is we'll allow them to plug in, and then we'll bill them for whatever electricity that they use.
Okay. So in our packet this evening, we have a letter dated of 9/20/2024, which is the Conservation Commission determination of applicability. And the location is identified as 325 Standish Street. And we have the equipment consists of an array of 8 antennas mounted on wooden posts and 2 small electronic enclosures. The system requires a small spatial footprint, but access to power and a clear view of the ocean. Antenna posts and cables will be hand-buried to minimize potential impacts on the site. WHOI, Woods Hole Institute, will use the existing power service originating at the guard shack. All equipment will be removed at the conclusion of the study. So that has been, the work described in the request is within an area subject to jurisdiction under the Act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. And it has been signed off by the members of the Conservation Commission. That's it. So, any questions, Steve?
No, thank you.
Any questions, Eric?
Yes. What is the actual purpose of this project?
Anthony, would you like to respond? Thank you.
Yes, please. The purpose of the project is to do 2 things. One, test new instruments that are smaller and have a smaller effect on the environment that they're deployed on, the coastal sites. And so we're testing smaller equipment, and then we're also looking to combine the data from the different towns that we're collecting, or the different beaches from Duxbury up through Situate, to map the ocean winds and waves and currents offshore and provide that data set to folks like the towns for coastal resiliency questions and research, as well as NOAA and the Coast Guard.
So, when you're gathering this data, in regards to ocean surface currents, waves, and winds, what is the point of it? What is your future use of this data that you're going to use?
Thank you. The data has 2 purposes. I'm a researcher. I'm really interested in how the ocean moves and circulates. And so for my own research interest of understanding how particles, whether it's pollutants or small baby fish or things floating in the water, can get across the shelf in a long-term research interest. I'm interested in that. Folks like the Coast Guard and NOAA are very interested in trying to make sure they can track these things on an operational basis. So if there's a man overboard or a Coast Guard call, they have a better idea of using this data in near real time to understand where the item they're looking for might have gone and can reduce rescue times. If there's a spill of an oil or floating particles in the water. And NOAA, Office of Search and Rescue or Response, can use the same data set to try to better map where things are going to inform cleanup.
So this data, I mean, we have floodplains set up in impacts of supposed rising waters, and then we get our storms from time to time. So, I mean, are you measuring, could this also be used for other things, like saying the flood zones and wave impacts in the areas of these, I think they call them velocity zones and everything?
Yeah, one of the longer term goals of this is to create the type of observations that allow coastal managers and first responders to say, this is the street we need to focus on, this street we can avoid and do this other one first. You know, these are the places we need to evacuate during a storm, or over the longer term, this is how we have to make decisions about building or monitoring the coastal zone to keep the town's infrastructure and the town's assets safe and the town's residents safe. And so over the longer term, we think that these types of data sets fed into an operational system like NOAA or the United States Geological Survey or the Coast Guard might have can give data back to residents and the towns to make better informed decisions, both over long time scales and short storm time scales.
Would insurance companies have access to this data?
Yeah, everything we do is publicly available.
Okay, so it could be beneficial for the insurance companies with setting rates for homeowners policies and everything, right?
Yes.
And then the antennas, if I understand it, they're radar-based antennas. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the radio waves, we're sending out signals that are about the same frequency as ham radio or police repeater radio systems. The site or the instrument that we're placing at Wrexham is actually a receiver. It's not transmitting, it's just receiving. And so it's going to be receiving a signal that's coming from Forthcliffe near Hummer and two other locations that we'll be setting up along the coast.
What is the, can you look at the usage of it around humans, the safety factor of it? What kind of impact?
Yeah, right. So the human health factor might be important around transmitters. Around receivers, what the signal is being transmitted from the antenna down the beach, away from the site, and then it's going out and bouncing off of surface gravity waves or ocean waves on the ocean surface and coming back to this particular site. And so the signal or the power levels that the receiver is receiving is quite small, in like milliwatts or microwatts. The transmitters, even in front of the transmitter, the radiation out of transmitter is comparable to a cell phone in your pocket or on your ear.
So if you approve for this, would you be fine putting up signage alerting beachgoers of the possibilities of this in case they have an impact to it themselves?
I'd be happy to put up signage for that it's a research project, an experiment. Like I said, the actual energy coming from the ocean to the antennas is quite small, and it's much less than anything that we would call even human health. I would say that all the transmitters that we have are certified by the FCC, and for that we have to go through a lot of testing to ensure that the energy that we're sending out is safe for local residents or public use. And so we're happy to put up signage that says that there's an antenna research project going on here. The actual power of the system is quite small.
And that it transmits radio waves.
So this one at Wrexham does not transmit, it only receives.
Receives it. Okay, so either way, it's getting a radio wave somewhere, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and then, I mean, when you say the FCC, in my, how can you say, overview of them and reports on them, I don't know if I would be a government entity. I'd trust in regards to the health and safety of people. and overall. So, yeah, if you don't mind signage up there and saying this, if it's not transmitting it, then I'd say receives, at least that way people around the area will be well aware of it.
Sure, understood.
That's
Okay,
it.
thank you. So with that being said, our motion does include permits obtained from the ZBA and building department, which would include a floodplain permit if necessary. So I am ready to move forward on this motion. If there's anything else, we're good. Okay. Woods Hole Oceanographic, what is my problem? Oceanographic Institution, proposed Rexham Beach project. Here we go. The board moves to approve the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution to use Rexham Beach for their project, pending the signing of a licensing agreement that will address the use or power and how it will be paid, approval and other requirements from the Conservation Commission, permits obtained from the ZBA and the building department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion passes 2-1.
Okay. Thank you. So we are moving on to another appointment we have this evening. It is the MHS Ballfields Revitalization Incorporated, MHS Ballfields Project CPC Application Update. Please identify yourself for the record and welcome.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Altabello, 193 Bowles Road. Madam Chair, I do have copies of a plan, if I can approach it.
Sure, please do.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, I have a lot of slides, but I promise to go fast, so we can run through it. So we're here tonight. We are a group of Marshfield residents, heavily involved in Marshfield Youth Baseball and Marshfield Youth Softball. We have formed a committee, a nonprofit committee, to start help with a project that will enhance and improve the ball fields at Marshfield High School. It affects 4 fields in totality. It's the JV softball, varsity softball, the JV baseball, and varsity baseball fields. This here is my wonderful group of committee members that have shown their support here tonight. So they will help me at any point that I need help. So this here, I'm the chair as Rachel. Josh is the treasurer. Katie Holt is the secretary. Dana, project manager. Lou Merloni, a project member. Jen Vitelli, project member. Brad Mills, project member. Jason Zimmer, project member, and Marcy, a project member. So we are kind of flooded together with our resources and expertise in certain areas and are kind of coming to you to kind of give you an update. We went into the CPC on like the end of September with an application with the scope of our project and a budget to our project, and that's what we're going to take you through tonight. So obviously the field, when you go look at the fields, they're just in dire need of some attention. It's been over a decade of use. There's a lot of kids on those fields. It's anyone that's 13 and older are playing. It's the youth sports. It's the high school fields. It's the club teams. They're all kind of present and active at that community. It's in a very, very active area. So really what we're looking to do is improve the area and its safety and its accessibility to the community. There's a lot of walkers. There's a lot of vehicles going by. There's bikers going by. And it really does need some attention to improve the safety, especially at the baseball fields. The softball fields, it's not so much safety, it's accessibility and ADA compliance, but at the baseball fields, both fields do kind of pose, some kind of risk to the patrons in the area as the game is played. So we have put together kind of a big proposal that you will see. We are talking with the DPW. We understand that the DPW is in charge of general maintenance, but it has gone beyond general maintenance, and we're here to help in any fashion we can to kind of fund this project and keep it moving and improve the safety and the playing for our kids. So I don't know. Wait a minute. Right. So here's the overview. The overview is really to look at the varsity fields and get improved backstops in, put them in the right place, added safety, more netting that'll secure the area. Again, it's right on school property. It's in the middle of school property, and then you got the varsity field at the corner of Forest Street. So high traffic in all areas, from foot traffic to vehicle traffic. We want to reconstruct the infields. The infields have just worn down. They just have lips in them. It's not ideal playing, and it actually poses some risk to the kids on the field. So want to make sure they're safe. A lot of the infill is actually just has a lot of rock and gravel in it as well. So we're proposing that those fields just be reconstructed with new fill that's more, safe for the sports. New fencing, so looking at the dugouts are really tight, don't have any kind of expression for the kids to come side by side and walk around the field. So we are proposing that there is some attention to new placement of fencing at the dugout. Let's see, so then we need dugouts. There are no dugouts at the JV baseball and the JV softball field, so that is a part of this proposal. ADA pathways, this is a big one for us, and it really will be just such a benefit to the overall community. I don't have to go too deep into ADA. I think you're all familiar with ADA, but it would be wonderful and necessary for us to put a pathway, especially along Rams Way, along that varsity field. Very high traffic. You have cross country. You have a lot of other kids and students that are accessing that area to even approach school. And then you have the teachers and their parking. And it's really kind of hard to navigate through that area. And it would really be a lot more safe for the kids. And while we do that, we'd also make it an ADA compliant path. EV charging stations, that's going to be a part of this program, and it's really a way to start some revenue to pay down the project, and revenue that'll be a long stream for the town to draw from. And then pole lighting and sound systems, those are on our exploratory list, I'll say. They're not really part of the phase one or what we would really attack first, but it is something to really look at. It was once in place at the field, and when they remodeled the field or remodeled the school, it actually was taken from that area. So this just shows kind of, again, you could walk by at any point during the day or during the weekend, and you're going to just see a lot of use in that area. This is the varsity and baseball fields. On the left is the backstop. So in addition to the fact that it doesn't function because it's positioned really far back, so it's 60 feet back from home plate when it typically shouldn't be any further than 35. So, it's not a great game to play if you have a bad catcher and you're going to have to be chasing a ball the whole game. So it can be very painful to watch. So proposing that we get just what you see now when you go to ball fields that have been reconstructed or, attention to sports complexes, there's more of the netting's great. The netting's highly durable, a lot of protection. I think we're proposing that it goes 40 feet up, where right now we're at 20 feet of protection. And then we will span it so that it does cover the area much broader than it does today. So I will say, it's costly. A big part of that project and project cost is the backstops and having to kind of remove that fence and then install new fencing. But you'll see it on the line items we have. You can continue. You can fly through it if you want. This is the varsity field. So, you're putting 20 kids and maybe 3 or 4 coaches in that dugout. They can't be outside that while the game is on. So everyone's kind of shoved in there. There's plenty of space at these fields, so especially at that varsity field. It is very generous in what it offers. So we could easily pull that forward and put new protection where the kids kind of can watch the game a little bit better and not be caged into the dugout. And then this is a huge problem as well. So our fields are closed a lot. Our fields, because of the wear that they've experienced, there's no movement of water. So the water just gets stuck in the infields, and there is a whole lot of cancellations that happen. I'll just say, we're in talking to the varsity baseball coach, they wait until, a few weeks into the season to even host a home game because they know their fields are going to be compromised with the spring weather. Our sport, baseball and softball, we're compromised a bit because we are outside. We're not on turf, we're on grass fields, so we are always exposed. No other programs really have that complication of scheduling and closure that they have to always pivot and find a contingency planning on when they can't be in town, play in town. In addition, the Marshfield High School team, for their spring season, their tryouts, the fields were closed the entire week, and their whole tryouts for the high school program were held indoors because the fields were not able to be used. So just, again, a huge problem. We just have a real drainage issue, and it needs to be addressed. This is just an example of what you see as the accessibility right now at the varsity field and why it's so necessary to put that pathway in. Worn areas, again, just trip hazards, if you will. But just a real worn area, we could easily put a path straight through. It would really benefit the whole area and the students in the community. Batting cages, right now, we have failing batting cages currently in place. The one at the varsity field, it's not a bullpen, it's a batting cage only, and it wasn't kind of set on cement footings or on a cement pad. It's kind of in a swampy area, and it's settled, so the poles have now all settled. It's very it's sloping, it's failing. We want to address that, do it the right way, put the pads down, and give them kind of the new equipment that's available to the kids today. A shed, so if you go to the field, it just looks a little bit messy in the way that we could kind of make it, you're on the corner of Forest Street, it's a real, high point as you enter into the high school. There's clay mounds that, again, that's what everyone's using to kind of maintain the fields, but we could have a designated area with this shed. The other thing that's great about this shed is we would engage the students at Marshfield High School. They have a wood shop program, get the community feel and get them a part of it so that they could go and we could design and build it, and they'd be a part of something that's going to stay on the structure. Film tower, kind of the same idea. There's a media and woodshop classes at Marshfield High School, so they could get involved, design this, have a great project. We've talked to the teachers over there, and they're totally on board and would put this project in sync with our project timeline. This is where we would have some revenue generated to the town. So putting in the EV stations, we'll figure out the right location for it, working with the schools and working with the administration. But there is a real opportunity to install these. Takes about 5 parking spots to get 2 stations and set. And then we proposed here that it's just with just as little as 15% usage, you would bring in about $50K to the town. And that would hopefully help fund this project year over year, getting that kind of revenue stream going. And we can place it wherever. Really what this program will be is kind of based off of incentives. So we'll be applying for incentives to make sure that we get granted access to this program. It would be a free program for us once those incentives were granted. And then again, we would, once installed, would be generating money for the town. Lighting, like I said, ideally we want this on the list. It's very expensive and costly and probably more of a long-term investment. But yeah, this is something we want to look at and maybe keep exploring, so that we can expand the use. And then on softball, so softball fields, it's a little bit of a cleanup and improvement on, mostly for the softball, it is more infield, so we'll build the new infield. There's a lot of bleachers that are kind of just in the open space. We'd like to kind of give attention to that. We will work with the school. Either they want to restore them or discard some of them, so we've already walked through with the Furnace Brook principal, just to get her take on the area and the ideas that we have for it. And then getting a batting cage installed for the softball field as well, and improve kind of again, pathways and make it ADA accessible to the fields. JV softball, kind of similar, but it would be adding, again, a scoreboard and then the dugouts that do not exist today for that program. And then this is our budget, our proposal. So here you can kind of see the overall project itself, and this excludes lighting, so we're not talking lighting or a sound system in those numbers, but it's over $900,000. We've put this in front of the CPC with our line item costs of everything that we just went through. And then if you want to go to the next slide, I don't know if you want me to go line item. You can see just ways that we're going to contribute as the project committee. So as the project committee, we'll get involved in fundraising, hoping to raise over $100,000. We have some in-kind services that have been offered up. We will apply for grants, and then hopefully, again, that EV charging station comes through for us, and we're able to pay it down and provide some long-term revenue. This is just the due diligence. So if you look at the project activity, again, I'm not going to go through it, but there was several meetings and several involved parties, making sure that, the folks that are affected by this or associated from schools or DPW, rec department, we've all had touch points with them, and we've walked the field with all of them to kind of get their opinion and understand their needs as well. Quote activity, again, just some due diligence on the numbers so that you can see that we went out to a lot of local areas. One big thing is that we really kind of focused on sports experts when it came to the construction and the design of these fields to get their take on it and what they could do with the field so that we're cost conscious, but yet kind of getting it to today's standards and today's improvements for the kids. And then next steps, so here we are, informing the Board of Selectmen that we have this project and the CPC application has been submitted. We will tighten those costs, so we're, continuing to look at the cost and looks at ways that we can drill down the cost or maybe be more cost conscious and repurpose items that are out there. We are seeking CPC approval this year where we can continue and take it to town for vote. And then if approved by town, we'll take the following steps of generating state bids, applying for permits as needed, and then hopefully obtaining the CPC funds and starting our project in 2025. That's really
Thank
it.
you. That was very well presented. Everybody likes a great PowerPoint presentation. And I appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
So for the benefit of the kids, I appreciate all the work that you've gone through to be so concise and thought out and come in front of this board today. There are a few questions that I have, but something, I'm going to let those lie. Maybe you could come in
Would love that.
and meet
Yeah,
personally
perfect.
with any
Yeah.
one of us and explain in further detail.
Absolutely.
But,
We're new to this, so if
Yeah.
there's things that we're missing, we'll
Absolutely.
work with you as we need to.
Absolutely. So, my son was a baseball player, and I'm very familiar with these fields. So, kudos to you for
Thank
getting
you.
this started. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I thought it was a great presentation, very detailed and helpful, and it's very clear you guys thought this through a lot. It was very detailed, and your rationale for different elements was, I thought, very articulate. So I think it'll be great for the town, and that our students deserve quality fields that reflect the quality of Marshfield. So thanks for the work that you're doing. Keep going.
Thank you.
Eric?
I think you were recently at a school committee meeting, and they took a vote on this. Would I be correct on that?
I had submitted, as part of my information sharing, I had submitted this project so that they were aware of it, yes.
Did they vote on it?
They did unanimously that they were in
Okay,
favor of
I
it.
just so there's no technical issues with you going forward, it was brought to my attention that they may have an open meeting violation because it wasn't on their agenda. So you may want to revisit this with them, have it on
Okay.
the agenda, and have them re-vote on it,
Okay.
if that's the case.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Yep.
I know you said your plans weren't to install lighting and sound as of the moment. We all know that there are people that live around there, so if there are intentions, to do it in the future, what are your plans in regards to lighting and sound system?
I think you just do it with, there's a lot of technology out there today, right? I think there's a lot of sound systems and decibel spread that we would just have to be conscious of and probably test that out. I know just LED lighting, a lot different spread, if you will, than maybe it was done in the past. And we would maybe just look at the way it illuminates the area and make sure that everyone's on board with that it's the right thing to do.
So, I mean, I like to think, what you would do, but like, how would you incorporate the neighbors, to go along?
Well, we most definitely inform the neighbors of, like, a letter of something to let
Okay.
them know that this project is underway. We haven't explored, so that's why it's kind of on that second tier. We
No, I
really
understand.
haven't
Yeah,
explored.
there's a cost to it and all that.
Yeah.
But, just in case going
Yeah.
forward, if you guys get ambitious, that,
Money starts flowing in.
yeah. So with the backstops, so you're saying there's 60 feet from home plate, is that all of them, or is that just
Both JV and
JV
varsity
and varsity?
baseball,
Now, is that what the regulation was back then, or was it just built that way?
just built that way.
Really? Okay, and then what do you want to do, move the entire backstop?
You're actually able to repurpose quite a bit after having some folks come through. You're able to keep a lot. You just kind of cut out the hood and the backstop, and we just do a straight run across with netting above. You just kind of catch it at 32 feet. I think if you look at the plan, the straight shot across is taking you're taking as much as you can of that existing fence, and then you're trying to take a straight shot across.
Oh, so
behind
you're
home plate.
extending it, is what? Is that what I would be looking at, that, you're extending
Well, you're
the?
cutting it off almost. You're coming in front of it and you're cutting off and then you're removing the backstop that exists.
Oh, all right, so you shorten it up by just
Correct, yep. sure,
eliminate
yep.
more of the backside of it. I
Correct,
get what
yeah.
you're
So
saying.
like the hooded portion that
Yep.
exists today, that all comes out and
Okay.
it would be a straight shot with netting, I think it's 4 posts and,
All right, that was one thing I had a question on, especially with the netting.
Uh-huh.
So, is the netting cost a lot of money?
yes.
Okay, because we all know with the sun and UV rays, they will probably eat through that over time and deteriorate it. So I'm just wondering, would you be better off going with chain link, something that's long-term, not knowing what the lifespan of that netting is going to be, especially in the sun?
You,
and all
you
that?
could. I mean, it all was a part of the proposals and working and walking through, and the most cost-effective approach was to do the netting. The netting also isn't, like, you can replace netting, so you make sure it's under, like, we'll look at the warranties and the life cycle
Yeah, I just don't know how
of the
much it
netting and
costs.
make sure we get the right stretch of
Yeah.
time with it.
I'm just saying, I just don't know how much it costs, so I don't know if the netting's big bucks, and if you, like, I try to think long-term.
Yeah.
So would it be better, between the cost of the netting and then how often it needs to be replaced, would you be better off maybe spending a couple extra bucks to put a
Depends.
chain link back, a chain link backstock back,
We'll
at a
look
shorter-
at that. Yeah, I think it's something we definitely need to look at and just make sure.
And
what's
that would
right.
go for like the hitting cages and the.
Oh, yeah,
the-
those areas
The
too.
batting
Yep,
cage and
yep.
all that, everything too.
Yep.
There is one thing, a couple of things more I want to touch on. That, you show the picture of the infield in regards to baseballs and the water being built up.
Yeah.
But on the next page, new shed to store clay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say you, I'm just going to use
It's
you
okay,
as a
it's-
general reference.
yes.
But remove the existing mounds of clay placed around dugouts are preventing water from escaping field.
Mm-hmm.
So I see you have the pictures of the water, the fields being, but it seems like there was a solution here that could have been dealt with to take that.
You really can't. I mean, it's lost. It's too far beyond. I mean, the clay is in a spot where you don't want. You shouldn't be storing clay where it is.
That's what I'm.
The water you have to push off the field. So it's manual labor that we're all going out there and clearing off these fields.
Oh, no.
But you can't even get around the clay because the clay is trapping it from even pushing it back.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
So
because
it's just-
in the picture here, it says there's mounds of clay in the picture. So it says, remove the existing mounds of clay placed around the dugouts that are preventing water from escaping from the field. So I'm just saying, was that, I want to ask, why wasn't that done, when this whole issue came about in regards to water being tied up in the fields, if we knew the clay mounds were.
If you can call that order to get that done, go right ahead. It's just not done. And they're not in the infield. They're outside they're outside the fence. So maybe that
I'm just
is
going off-
misleading
I am just
of
going
what
off-
I said.
Thank you.
Who? I don't know, what am I supposed to be reading? Who's giving this?
It's not the clay mound.
Oh, clay is not
Clay
the.
is not the cause.
Okay, clay is not
It's
the
the
cause.
layers of underneath.
Can you please identify yourself for the record, if you're going
Yeah,
to speak for the,
why don't you
in
come up?
front of the board? Oh, okay, well, she can relay it, and let's move along.
It's not the mound.
Oh, you just want, so
No, the mounds of clay.
they contribute to it, but they're not the reason for the water being trapped there. The water is trapped in all the baselines, so it's not able to move. The grass slips are too prominent.
Like I said,
and the clay is way.
I'm just asking, just going off what you guys put together here. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I just see.
I'm trying to answer
mounds-
that.
Mounds of
So-
clay.
Yeah.
And for a reason, trapping the water. You show the picture prior to that. So I'm just trying to figure if
Two different
we remove,
areas.
if we remove
Yeah.
the clay piles, would that have helped
No.
alleviate? Okay.
It would not.
All right.
But it is contributing to containing the water in the field.
Okay.
There's a lot of contributing factors. It's one of them.
All right. What was the other thing? Oh, okay. When you were talking about, I think you were talking about the whole fields in general as well, but you kind of highlighted it with the batting cages in regards to them starting to deteriorate and fall
They're
apart.
settling. Yeah, they're settling.
I mean, do you think the initial job of doing this field was poor? Because I do think you commented on that in the report.
I don't think it's, I think what happens is there wasn't a sports field construction that handled those infields, right? So there was construction that handled those infields, but it really wasn't a sports expertise that now, I mean, we're 10 years later. There's a whole lot more companies that pay attention to the fields. They know there's a business out there. So you really have now an opportunity to have a sports expert company come in and kind of retweak the field. The field is beautiful. If you look at the field and the space, it's a beautiful field. It was designed with the right pitch to run off. It's worn down. It just hasn't, it just needs some attention. It needs to be reconstructed to make it back to where it was.
All right, so.
But there is no drainage. There's no drainage on that field. If you try and get that water anywhere, there's nowhere to put that water. The fields are set below grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're always going to have some kind of water to fight.
No, I get that, you know, and I'll say, I was going to, I would like to take a tour with
I would love
somebody,
to.
you or.
Tomorrow would be great. Yes, it rained all day today.
Oh, yeah, after the rain.
You would like to go
I might be able
I'll
to
make
do that.
myself available. Yeah, yeah, nice. run.
The film tower, is that the size you're going with? Is that just a sample thing?
It's just actually a sample. I
Okay.
think I'd rather work with the kids and figure out what they.
Yeah, I was gonna look at it. I was like, I think something bigger might be needed in regards to that. I know you're pushing the EV charger station. It's one of the big ones I have questions on. And you say it's a money generator, and it probably is. But do you know what the cost of it is? The cost, I should say, like
The initial
repair.
investment.
Let's put it this way: like if it has to be repaired,
Yep.
you know, what are we looking at potentially money-wise
To maintain
repair
that
it?
and
Yeah.
give it the
Do
right
we
attention
know?
over time. No, do you know the life cycle on it? Or the repairs?
Yeah, there's different things that you can include. Brad Mills for Chilmark Lane. There's different things that you can have, like a maintenance package. There are different things you can utilize, but from a maintenance standpoint, yes, there is, yearly maintenance. We include, it's part of, putting in EV charging stations.
So
You need it.
So let me ask you this much, because now you touched on something I didn't realize. So, are you going to be somebody? I don't know, the town or your group, whatever. Is somebody going to be on the hook for kind of leasing this out or something, or how's it working?
No, there's current programs through Eversource in Mass EVIP that have incentive and rebate. So the funding, it's actually a free project currently if you utilize those incentives. It's year 2 of 4 of the program, so it's a no cost to Marshfield currently.
To install it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
but that's what I'm getting to. in
Oh,
regards to
100%.
To like, hey, the thing breaks for some reason or whatever. I mean, you're gonna say generate money, but then all of a sudden the repair of it is gonna wipe out that what you put into it. So that's what I'm wondering between what it's gonna cost to potentially repair if we have any billing from any other sources
Yeah,
for it. Like, and then, like, especially in regards to what it may generate. Do you have information from other like baseball fields that are in use?
That has them and things like that.
And all, yeah, just to get an idea. And, we do have some pretty brutal winters around here, and it is a thing. So,
Right.
what is the lifespan of it to go through the weather? And, it's not in Arizona, but New England, all that. So, are you going to have to replace this sooner than later just due to the fact of our weather around here? Other than that, I think that's all I have in regards to asking. Let me just go through this real quick.
Well, he's looking. I do know enough about baseball that you wouldn't want to put a chain link fence inside a batting cage.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you get dinged.
Oh, the ball ricocheting off.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bingo. That's just one.
We do prefer netting.
Seen it happen. Even just with the
I
poles.
could see that.
It hits the pole,
Oh, yeah.
in the olden days, yeah. It's a long time.
That's why it's always nice to have a second opinion on
There
it.
you go.
Oh, that was the other thing. Rebuilding the fields will put less grooming on the DPW.
Yeah.
Are you going turf, or are you still going to keep it natural grass? What are your plans?
Yeah, all the cost estimates reflect natural gas, keeping it in
Natural
place.
grass?
Yep. But again, rebuilding that, just, it's less time on them to try and get that field so that it's operational and open for the teams.
Okay,
And the rec department, they're constantly rescheduling all these games. So.
because of the condition of the field,
Correct.
especially when it rains out and everything.
Correct, yep, correct.
Yeah, that's all I have, but like I said, I'd like to meet up with
Yeah,
one or all of you, whatever, and have a walkthrough and just give me a.
we'd welcome that.
clean
It's great.
tour. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all those questions. All right, let's move forward. The time is 7:45, and this appointment was for 6:45, so I want to get things moving a little bit here. But, so this is the MHS Ballfields Revitalization Inc. Excuse me, folks. MHS Ballfields Project, CBC application update. So the board moves to support the proposal for the Marshfield High School ball field improvements as presented, pending all appropriate sign-offs from the schools and other departments in town, and applying for and securing all the necessary permits that may be required. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Thank you.
You guys can leave, don't worry.
And you can reach out through our administrator to get in touch with Mr. Kelly, or all of us will probably do the same. Thank you. Okay. So next we have a board discussion, and this is between our board. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge a few things here and read this into the record. So this board discussion and vote on the written request from Kerry Richardson, Chair of Board of Commissioners, Marshfield Housing Authority, asking the Select Board to schedule a public hearing under MGL Chapter 121B, Section 6, to remove an elected member of Marshfield Housing Authority, Joseph Pesovich. This is the amended agenda. So, board members, you have the supporting documents in the manila folder, and you should have all of that. So before we go any further, I am going to read there's a lot of information here, and I've spent hours looking at it. But I am going to read the email that was sent to all of us, Mr. Maresco, myself, and it came from Kerry Richardson, Chair of the Board of Commissioners, Marshfield Housing Authority. Subject: request for a special meeting of the Select Board, of the Board of Select, I'm sorry. This is September 19th, 2024. The Marshfield Housing Authority Board of Commissioners conducted a special meeting on May 22nd, 2024, and is asking the Board of Select to hold a special meeting at which it would conduct a hearing for the potential removal of Joseph Pesovich as an elected commissioner of the Marshfield Housing Authority. Attached are agenda of the May 22nd, 2024 special meeting of the Marshfield Housing Authority. Letter of complaint dated May 22nd, 2024 against Mr. Joseph Pesovich and request for removal written by the Executive Director of the Marshfield Housing Authority in support by four of five Board of Commissioner members of the Marshfield Housing Authority. And that is Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, Exhibit D, Exhibit E. We also have minutes of the May 22nd, 2024 special meeting of the Marshfield Housing Authority. We have comments by the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Kerry Richardson. We have comments by the Vice Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, John Daly. We have comments by the President of the Tenants Association and Commissioner Helen Bennett. And it says, please advise me if you need any further information to determine if you will conduct a special meeting for the potential removal of Commissioner Joseph Pesovich from the Marshfield Housing Authority. Thank you sincerely, Kerry Richardson. Okay. So, I am going to start off with a statement, and that may help some of us in understanding where I stand on this and how we're going to go forward. So I read through the complaint and supporting documents filed by Kerry Richardson, member of the MHA. And Eric, if you could just hold up that manila folder so the folks see what I read, and I am confident our board members read the same. Okay, I am not voting to schedule a disciplinary hearing on this complaint under General Law, Chapter 121B, Section 6, that allows the Select Board to consider the removal of an elected member of the Housing Authority because of inefficiency, neglect of duty, or misconduct in office. While there may be some name-calling or other comments by Mr. Pesovich or other conduct that he has engaged that is very upsetting to others on the staff and residents, and I am not condoning any of it, the residents of this town elected Mr. Pesovich. And if the residents of the town feel his tenure needs to end, and that his presence on the authority needs to end, then that should be a decision we all make and can make through the recall process, available under Section 8-1 of the town charter. This was a decision that I made after thoughtful consideration, and I, as you all know, sat in on the 6.5-hour meeting that we had last August. So based on that, I would like to offer my board members a chance to comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thought it would be good to kind of clarify the scope of this circumstance and then maybe answer some questions that I've just seen pop up over the last couple of weeks. So tonight's vote is only whether to have a hearing. That's all it is. And it's a state statute that kind of empowers a select board in a situation like this if it chooses to move forward. And just to kind of, because this came up last time as well, the only relevant things are what's occurred while Mr. Pesovich has been on the board as a Housing Authority Commissioner. So Joe's been very active in town politics for a long time, which is great. We need more folks to do that. But again, anything before his time on the board isn't relevant. Right, so in our deliberations, there'll be no consideration over Joe's 2 arrests, no consideration over Joe putting the middle school into a lockdown. That's not what we're going to vote on. And I think it's important, too, that, folks, could you not disrupt the hearing?
Just a sec. Okay. So just, everybody, this is a deliberation. We all have our points to make. And this is Steve Darcy's opportunity to make his points. Continue.
Seriously.
He just said whatever
Folks,
was before.
I will,
He just said it was irrelevant, then he says it out loud.
I will warn you.
Fine, you're an asshole.
Okay.
You seriously need to grow up.
Every complaint you've raised tonight, you're doing right now. Every complaint that was raised tonight for the Housing Authority
Okay.
meeting, you're all doing right now.
Really? Were you
Folks.
there?
Yeah.
You weren't there, honey, I hate to clue you.
I heard what you guys said that you saw at the
Okay,
meeting.
folks.
Give me a break.
I've
known Lynn for 50 years.
I'm going to
She can
request-
attest to my
I'm
character.
going to request that this boardroom be silent.
Okay, so so the deliberation is what's occurred during that period of time. And so the last time that we had a hearing, I said that I have zero confidence that we won't find ourselves here again, and yet here we are. And the fact that the behavior has remained the same or gotten worse, I think is a problem. And frankly, following an employee several miles in their car to the town dump is not within the scope of being a Housing Authority Commissioner. And I don't blame them for feeling intimidated by that or that it's inappropriate. And, you know, Eric, our good friend Eric, while he's been on the select board, he asks a lot of questions, which is great, but I have not seen like once during Eric's time on the board with us that someone felt intimidated or threatened by any questions that he's asked. Because I think Eric is always very civil in any questions that he asks and things that he looks into. So again, the fact that we found, the last time we voted on a hearing, right, there was agreement that there was misconduct that occurred. And so for the behavior to continue and get worse, I think I would support doing another hearing. So those are my thoughts in this particular board discussion.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
All right, so everybody knows I am good friends with Joe. There's no denying that. And I have gone to a few housing authority meetings, and I've had my sample of what to see and hear there. And just to let everybody know, yesterday I showed up, and as Lynn wanted me to point out that, go through the agenda, and I was told there was a manila envelope or a folder on the desk, and when I walk in, it was this, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't even open up and read it. It would take me, I think, a week or so probably just to go through it and dissect it.
4 hours.
4 hours
For
without
me.
breaks?
Couple of goldfish.
Oh, yeah, she loved your goldfish. So I didn't read it. As much as I would like to look it over, I'll do that another time. But, just my experience being at the housing authority meetings from time to time, I think there's a distraction going on here, as well as you can call it a witch hunt, and that's on Joe Pasevich. The distraction, I think, is that I think Joe is snooping around too much, and something's probably going on in the housing authority, in my opinion. My look at it is this. I think there should be an investigation on all the members of the housing authority. I think there should be an investigation on the executive director. I think there's probably an investigation, the Quincy Housing Authority, and anything that has attachments to the housing authority. I also think there should be an audit done on the housing authority, and probably, if it needs to be, all the ways leading up to the Quincy Housing Authority. I am disgusted with how Joe has been treated, especially by the executive director and some of the tenants there that disappoint me. So that's where I stand, and I think that, as you know, what my vote will be. I will not vote in favor of any kind of hearing going forward.
Folks, I appreciate you being here, but I don't want you interfering with what we have to say today. So I'm going to, based on the comments, and I appreciate the comments, and that's what we're here to do. So I have a motion to read. So this is, as I said earlier, board discussion and vote on written request from Carrie Richardson, Chair of the Board of Commissioners, Marshfield Housing Authority, asking the Select Board to schedule a public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 121B, Section 6, to remove an elected member of the Marshfield Housing Authority, Joseph Pasevich. So we have two options in front of us, and option one is that the board moves not to take any further action regarding this new complaint because the actions do not rise to a level that would require the removal of an elected member of the Marshfield Housing Authority. And option number two, the board moves to schedule a public hearing based on the information sent to the board from the Housing Authority Chair under Mass General Law, Chapter 121B, Section 6, to hear public comments regarding these accusations and the removal of an elected member of the Marshfield Housing Authority. I am going to ask for a second for option one, which is the board moves not to take any further action regarding this new complaint because the actions do not rise to a level that would require the removal of an elected member of the Marshfield Housing Authority. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Nay.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1 vote.
Thank you. All right. So we are moving into our action items. And we will start, we already tabled action number 1. And we have, let's see, 18 more to go. The time is 8 o'clock, and we're going to be here for a while. Is there anybody in this room that is waiting for an action item?
Mr. Finn.
Mr. Finn? Okay. So that is item number 2. Why don't you join us in the front of the room here, and we will get to that.
My name is William Finn.
Just a minute, sir.
Sure.
So this is a discussion and vote to award the Veterans Memorial Park project to Flynn Enterprise, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $1,602,000. Go ahead, please introduce yourself.
My name is William Finn. I'm the consulting project manager for the Conservation Commission on this particular project. I appeared before the board, so I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, before we got bids, filled the board in on the history of the project and updated you on where we stood. We did receive 4 bids. We have selected the lowest bidder, which came in well within our budget. I think I've provided you with the checklist of all of the bids that were submitted and what the results were, and also a memorandum from me discussing the status of our budget and the fact that we are within budget as a result of this bid. We had interviews of the 2 lowest bidders, and the committee was unanimous in terms of recommendation of Flynn Enterprises, and the consulting engineer also recommended Flynn Enterprises. So I am going to appear before the CPC on Wednesday night to ask them for a contingency budget, which will only be used in the event that we run into unforeseen circumstances, force majeure, unforeseen subsurface conditions, engineering fees that might be necessary to complete the project, but it'll only be used if those things occur. The money that we have for this project is $1,256,000 of that is grant monies, and $650,000 of it was voted at last year's annual town meeting to support this Veterans Memorial Park dam removal project. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, so as we all recall, that you were unsuccessful in the application of the $650,000 in grant from the MVP program.
Correct,
And, yeah, in your meeting on the 9th to request the allotment of the $350,000.
Yes, I filed that application.
Yep.
Hopefully, we won't need much of that money. and
Okay.
We won't use it,
Okay.
because this is a very, very, very good
Right.
bid.
And so the unused funds go back to the CPC?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't even draw on them unless we have to, and it'll be drawn on specific items. It won't be, oh, we need 350 to put it in the bank for us. It's not going to be that way.
Okay. I'm only going to read a portion of this so that folks understand what we have ahead of us. And the approach allows for more practical water management as well as significant time savings. The approach will require a slight modification in our time of year restrictions. Confident that the Division of Marine Fisheries will be open to the suggested extension. However, this project is time sensitive, not only from a construction sense, but also from a grant perspective. Our agreement with NFWF requires project completion by 7/31/2026, and we estimate approximately 15 months without any unforeseen delays for construction completion. This means that if we start next month, is this correct?
Yes.
Yep, next month,
November 1st, we'd like to be on site, yes.
yep. We expect completion by 2/28/2026 with no delays. So I'm going to put that in my calendar. And I'm sure you'll meet it based on the expertise we have in place
Unless we
here.
have some things like going
Yes,
on in
you
Florida.
never- Yes, I know. Don't knock on wood if this is wood. This allows us a reasonable time buffer for completion. We must expect delays due to time of year restrictions and weather, of course. So you are, as you said, hoping to begin November 1st, 2024. Okay. There's the bid evaluation recommendation, as you mentioned, from Fuss O'Neill. There's the WPA Form 1. Okay, nope, that's it. That's it, I'm sorry. That's part of the process here. Anything you'd like to add, Michael, to this?
So we were very fortunate. It was a very difficult project. The project's been, bits and pieces have been done over the last 3 years. This is the final big piece of it. This is what we were working to do, get rid of the dam, improve the water flow. I helped the veterans, making sure there's sustainable water so that they can run their water fountain there. And this project will get us there. As Bill mentioned, Bill worked really hard, and we were very fortunate that the bids came in the way they did, because bids right now are running high only because the cost of goods are so high. And with the money that came in and losing that other grant, having town meeting support for the 650, the contribution from the North-South River Watershed Association, making this project possible.
So what are you saying? You did a good job to get this far. It's a lot of money. Anything you'd like to add?
No, thanks for the work you put into this. I know we've had a few hearings now with updates on the project, so I think it'll be a great improvement, and I'm glad the bid came in under what was projected.
So am I.
So will you be
Yeah.
will you be updating with Michael as time goes on? So Kid Bits and
Absolutely.
everybody
Michael
knows
is
what's going on?
actually the administrator that's going to oversee the whole grant anyway. So,
Okay,
yes, absolutely. We work closely
look
together.
forward to seeing it.
And Madam Chair, Bill will be
Sure.
happy to come periodically and update the board.
Yeah, that would be
I
excellent.
would be happy to do that, sure.
Because I know it's like kind of like a phased approach as you're going through this.
Yeah,
So
well,
maybe not every
hopefully,
week.
if we have a mild winter, you won't see me too much.
Yeah, hopefully.
If we have a bad winter, I'll be in a lot.
Hopefully not. Anything you'd like to add, Eric?
Yeah, I do want to ask about the bid pricing. Flint Enterprises, 995,000. Am I seeing that correct?
Yes.
And then,
That's,
well,
let me explain.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Just the way that the sheet you have in front of you is broken up is base bid and then alternate 1, alternate 2. That was put out to bid that way because we were cautious about what kind of money we had available and what we thought the bids might come in at. So we did a base bid, which we knew we had enough money, we thought, to cover the base bid. We weren't sure about whether we had enough money to cover alternate 1 and alternate 2, but we had to put it out there to find out what they were charging, what they would charge us for that work if they were able to do it. Fortunately, Flint Enterprises came in with a total bid that was under our budget. It's about 1.6 million, and we have about we have over 1.9 million to do the work. So we have money to cover additional expenses that you see in that memo I sent.
All right, so what you're saying is the total contract base price, let's just rough it at 2.4 for Northern Construction, right?
Yeah.
And then, but we're adding on alternate bid price 1 at 81,000 and adding on alternate bid price 2 at 643,000? Would I be correct about that?
No, the total bid is being awarded. The 1.6 million that you're voting on tonight does the whole project, does the base bid, alternate 1, and alternate 2.
Yeah. So that's what I'm, all right, I apologize, since you're going with Flynn, I should have used them. So $995,000
Was for the base bid.
base bid.
Right.
Then you have bid price 1 at 75,000.
Correct,
And then alternate bid price 2 at 494.
correct.
So that's your 1.6. So all three, that's a total. It wasn't under $1 million. It's a total of all three numbers.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Doesn't clearly,
Base bid-
doesn't clearly state that, like, total or anything like
Yeah,
that. So
But you're right, yes.
all right. So Flynn is way underneath the other three contractors. How is that? I mean,
That's a
that
good
raised,
question.
that is,
We asked that question as well, and I certainly cannot speak for the other contractors. We did interview the two lowest bids. We interviewed Flynn Enterprises and we interviewed Sumco.
yeah,
And we asked, what did they think the difference was? They said they responded the way they read the specs, they responded accordingly with their bid pricing. I can't speak for Sumco as to why they bid what they bid. We did not interview the other two because they were so far more expensive than the two lowest bidders that we didn't bother interviewing them. So I never did ask about why they did their prices. But we did find that Flynn and Sumco were allocating about the same amount of manpower to the site for the job. Flynn had some more innovative thinking about how they are going to approach these time of year restrictions that are imposed by the Division of Marine Fisheries in relation to the fish migration. That's what those time of year restrictions relate to.
Okay.
And in terms of bypassing the river and working during the winter, Flynn had some interesting time-saving and money-saving ideas about how they would do that. And the committee and the engineer also felt that they were good ideas, so that allowed them to save some money. More than that, I can't tell you. We believe that any of the firms, or at least the two that we interviewed, were certainly competent to do the job.
all right. So they, Flynn Enterprises has some ideas to work around
Correct.
situations.
Correct.
So if they don't work out, how are we going to hold them accountable? If
Their bid bond, they're bonded. So the
So,
bond would cover if they fail, the bond will come up with the money to cover it.
5% of the bid.
okay. All right. And how long has Flynn been in business for? And have they done projects like this?
They have done projects like this, and we did reference checks, and they're very highly rated.
Okay. Highly rated.
Yes,
Well, what can you ask for then?
that's correct.
That's it. That's all I have to ask.
No,
All right. So let's move forward on the motion. The board moves to award the contract for the South River Fish Passage and Veterans Memorial Park improvement to the lowest qualified and responsive bidder, Flynn Enterprise, Inc. of Raynham, Massachusetts, in an amount not to exceed $1,602,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to award contract not to exceed $1,602,000 to Flynn Enterprises, Inc.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Let me see if the gentleman in the back right is here.
Sir, are you here for an action item? You're just here hanging out on a Monday? Cool. Okay. So we're moving on to because.
We take people out of order to
So,
like.
yeah, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
want you to be here we were here till 11 o'clock last time we were here. I wouldn't want you to be sitting here for an extended period of time that's the only reason. Thank you. No.
No, because we'll have folks who will be like 18th on the action items,
I have no business here. I'm just
No, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, no, we just wanted
Excellent.
to save you time. But yeah, it's
I'm
good
sorry to
have people
draw
here, yeah.
attention to you, but I just wanted to make sure we're trying to help folks out in that regard. Okay, so, moving on to number 3, which is a discussion and vote on appointment to Airport Commission, Steve, and this is for Steve Grable. So Steve, you're the liaison on this board. Would you like to take this candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to save time, both candidates have a really applicable and relevant background for the Marshfield Airport and the Airport Commission. So I think their collective experience and their backgrounds would make them a strong fit. And it's a great commission that we have, and I think they'll continue to add a lot of value and that they'll do some great work.
Okay, excellent. So I will the committee application form for Steve Grable is he's been involved in aviation his entire adult life, worked at the Marshfield Airport over the years as an instructor, charter pilot, and corporate pilot. And he looks forward to being an advocate for the airport and the town. He's got a Corey form here, I believe. Correct. Anything you'd like to add, Eric?
Yeah, I'd like to, Steve, are you replacing 2 members that are currently on there?
This is to replace Robert Riley, whose term expired on June 30th, 2024.
And
David Suffredini also expired June 2024.
the reason I have to ask is just to that I was reached out. So is there a particular reason why those 2 are being replaced?
Sure.
These 2 gentlemen?
Yeah, I just think a different direction would be good for the board as a whole, and just kind of like different approaches and management styles, I think would just create a more like diverse background on the board moving forward. And yeah.
I mean, when you say like a different direction, is there like an issue that's going on at the airport that Dave and Bob seem not to?
Yes, just double check, Michael. How specific are we allowed to get? Because I know 3 years ago we had a.
Because they're not here, you can't say anything about their, anything
Character.
about them personally.
Okay.
So you just want to leave it at that?
Yeah, I'm happy to because we can't talk to each other directly.
I know.
I'm happy to communicate to Michael.
All right, you know something? If you can't do it, that's fine. I asked. I guess that's it. I mean, like I said, I talked to one of them, and I had concerns, so I was like, let me ask him. I told him I'm not going to do anything to impede it. I wouldn't want Steve to impede what I chose, but I will inquire and see if I can get you answers. So that's where I would be. All right.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you. Yep.
Okay. So let's move forward on, so I want to start with number 3, which is the board moves to appoint Steve Grable to the Airport Commission for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, replacing Robert Riley, whose term expired on June 30th, 2024. And I understand that Rob Riley has been a long-term member of that particular board, and we appreciate his service to the town. And I'm sure he will remain connected to the airport as he goes into his days, not on this particular board, but we appreciate that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to appoint Steve Grable.
Okay. And then item number 4 is Ian Hughes, and he has provided a extensive letter and also a portfolio. Is there anything you'd like to add in regards to Ian?
I believe Ian got his pilot's license at the Marshfield Airport, which is pretty cool.
Yes, I understood that, yes. So, he did not pursue a career in aviation, but his first job was at the Marshfield Airport, and he worked there for 3 years. He was a lineman and dispatched for the flight school in his teens, and he learned to fly at the same time as his father, and enjoyed flying out of the airport for many years. He owns a marketing consulting firm and also leads a small team of cybersecurity company with its U.S. headquarters in Boston. If I am appointed to the Airport Commission, I would work with the members of the commission to further the goal of continuing to operate the airport in a safe and efficient manner to maintain this important public resource. In addition to providing educational career opportunities for young people, the airport is an important asset for law enforcement and emergency responders, provides recreational opportunities, and contributes to the overall economic viability of the town and area businesses. So that's his letter, and his portfolio is also is here as well. Certificate, Product Foundations, Scottsdale MBA, Northeastern College of Business Administration, MS in Advertising, 2006, Boston University College of Communication, is a BA in English, University of San Diego, and St. Clair's College, Oxford, England, Boston College High School, and skill set, as I previously mentioned, is very sound. So with that being said, anything you'd like to add, in the exception of what you already said?
No,
Okay.
I asked Steve what I needed to in
Okay.
regards to both candidates, and
Okay,
I'll leave it at that.
appreciate it. So the board moves to appoint Ian Hughes to the Airport Commission for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, replacing David Suffredini, whose term expired on June 30th, 2024. And I'd also like to extend our appreciation to David for his efforts on behalf of the airport and the town during the period of which he served on that board, and we appreciate that. So do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made, and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve Ian Hughes to the Airport Commission.
Thank you. The board is also moving into the Agricultural Commission and an appointee. So this is discussion and vote on appointment to the Agricultural Commission, Kaylee Jarvis. Anything you'd like to add? No? So Kelly has provided an application form. She's a small farmer here in Marshfield, like to be considered for the AG Commission. And she has a letter of recommendation from Lori Dalen, who, as we all know, is highly involved and a great asset to the board for her work. Okay, so anything you'd like to add, Eric?
Just that she seemed pretty enthusiastic to get on this, so I
Okay.
wish her and the rest of the board well.
Okay, thank you. The board moves to appoint Kaylee Jarvis to the Agricultural Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve Kaylee Jarvis to the Agricultural Commission.
Thank you. Discussion and vote on acceptance of donations of flowers and pumpkins for Town Hall entrance, Michael Maresco. Thank you, Michael. Looks
You're
great out there. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Are you carving them out?
I'm not artistic.
No, that's it.
Okay. And then I'd like to make the motion, the board moves to approve a donation in the amount of $147.30 for flowers, which were mums, and pumpkins for the town hall. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Discussion and vote on, number 7, discussion and vote on request for permission to hang a banner in Brant Rock, the original Brant Rock Village Association. And, let's see. So this is a proposal for a 6 by 2.5 foot, 6 foot by 2.5 foot vinyl banner at the top center of the white pergola in the Brant Rock Esplanade. We would like to hang it starting this week through the event date of November 30th. We will be planning on taking it down during windy, stormy weather days, then rehanging it after such weather passes. Then the banner photo is attached. So, just so you know. Okay? See? So this is for the annual turkey trot, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, 1 to 3 p.m. And that is what they would like to hang. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Eric?
I'm sure it'll be a fun time.
Okay. So the board moves to approve the request of Nanette Paziale, event coordinator for the original Brant Rock Village Association, to hang a 6 foot long by 2.5 foot high vinyl banner on the white pergola on the Brant Rock Esplanade to advertise their annual turkey trot from October 7th, 2024 until the event on November 30th, 2024. It will be taken down during windy and stormy weather days. Do I have a second?
Before I second, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Bob Galvin said that they might need they do need a sign permit
A sign permit?
from Andrew.
Okay. So I'm going to, at the very end of that, I will make amend this motion to read, will be taken down during windy, stormy weather days pending a sign permit approval by the building department. I would guess it would be the building department.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it's the building department.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Number 8, how are you guys holding up? It's 8:30, we've been at this since 6. You want to stretch
If you
your
want
legs?
to take a break, Lynn, I'll be more than happy to accommodate you.
Let's just take a 5-minute break and just stretch your legs and then
Yeah.
get right back at it, okay? So the time is 8:27, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Okay, I can't.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye,
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote for a 5-minute break.
thank you. Meeting back to order, we just had a 5-minute recess. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to return to the business at hand.
Alrighty. So, we are on number 8. So 8 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept a donation on behalf of the Council on Aging. And, this is a Kevin and Paula J. O'Donnell. This is a $2,000 general donation, which is super. Thank you to them. Every amount counts, but that is a very generous donation. Anything you'd like to add?
No, appreciate the donation.
Like you said, that's a very nice donation.
Okay. The board moves to accept a donation on behalf of the Council on Aging from Kevin and Paula J. O'Donnell in the amount of $2,000. The fund will be deposited into the COA's gift account to be used to provide services for seniors and programs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the $2,000 donation.
Okay, number 9 is a discussion vote on request for permission to accept a donation on behalf of the Animal Control. And this is, letter serves as an official request to accept for the amount of $100 made by Jocelyn Staffier. Anything you'd like to add, gentlemen?
No, thank you.
All set? Eric, you're all set?
Yeah, thank you once again for
Okay.
make donations.
Yep.
Jocelyn.
Yep. The board moves to accept a donation on behalf of the Animal Control Officer, Jocelyn Staffier, in the amount of $100. The funds will be deposited into the donation account for the animal shelter and will be used to care for the animals at the shelter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the $100 donation for the animal shelter.
Okay. Number 10 is a discussion vote on request for permission to accept donation, and this is on behalf of the Veterans Services. Town of Marshfield Veterans Services is requesting permission to accept a donation in the amount of $500 from Tiny and Sons Glass. It's not a very nice donation. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, the board moves to accept a donation on behalf of Veterans Services from Tiny and Sons Glass in the amount of $500. The donation will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and their dependents. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept a $500 donation
Okay.
from Tiny and Sons.
Number 11 is a discussion and vote on an annual peddler's license application. This is after the fact, Hardly Saints Donuts. Michael, would you just
Sure,
share
Madam
what
Chair.
happened here?
Yep, be happy to.
fact, okay.
So the Hardly Saints Donut is a mobile food truck that serves only donuts and coffee. They had gone through the process. They were approved by the Board of Health. They passed their query, and they had an event this past weekend. So we've done this before, where as long as they have the Board of Health as the primary permitting, and they passed the query, so we can approve it after the fact.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Questions or comments?
No?
All right. The board moves to approve an after-the-fact peddler's license for Camden Moya of Pembroke for Hardly Saints Donuts, a mobile food truck that will be serving donuts and coffee between the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 7 days a week. The applicant is subject to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts motor vehicle laws in the town of Marshfield zoning bylaws, pending sign-off from the MPD, MFD, Board of Health, and property taxes being paid in Marshfield. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the peddler's license for Camden Moyer after the fact.
Okay, moving right along. Number 12 is a discussion and vote on temporary entertainment license application for Emily Sulo. So this is for a backyard wedding on the 12th of October from 3 to 9:30. There will be dancing by patrons. There will be an amplification system and recorded music. Okay, it will be outdoors, there will be a tent, and there will be food served. Police have no issues. And fire, no issues from fire as long as the tent permit is approved. All right. Okay. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Eric?
I do. Is this where it's located? Is it a large lot of land, you know? They got many neighbors around? I mean,
Madam Chair, if I may
Sure,
respond to that for
it's-
Mr. Kelly. It's on Peregrine White. It's way down the end. Kim Baressa has a pretty big piece of land down there.
so there's like
Off of
really,
South River Street, you know where it is?
I think I got an idea.
Yeah.
So they got some space where they're not going to be impacting the neighbors with the.
Yeah, they get acres, yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay.
It is
I was-
over at 9:30, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure if like, it was like a half acre of yard or whatever. like
No,
that.
no. Because they can, excuse me, Madam Chair, if I
Sure,
may.
go
just,
ahead.
They can accommodate all of the cars to park there also.
And it
No
does.
street parking you have to worry about then.
No, and the neighbors have all been made aware that there'll be a wedding with music there.
Oh, good, good.
Okay, so the board moves to approve an outdoor temporary one-day entertainment license for Emily Sulo of Abington for a backyard wedding to take place at 168 Peregrine White Drive in Marshfield on October 12, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. The entertainment will consist of dancing by patrons, amplification system, and recorded music for approximately 80 people. The neighbors have been notified, a tent will be used, and food will be served at the event, pending sign-off from MPD, MFD, Board of Health, and the Building Department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the one-day outdoor temporary entertainment license.
All right. There was a comment, Mike, before I move on, there was a comment from Fire on the tent permit.
Mm-hmm.
So that is part of the previous motion, correct?
The tent, they get the tent permit from the building department.
Building Department, thank you. Okay. So number
And the
30,
and the fire department signs off on any propane that's being used.
that's right. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. Number 13, discussion and vote on request to declare items as surplus, Ventress Memorial Library. And here we have, the library has several items. A pretty sad-looking metal and plastic chair. In addition, the library has withdrawn the following items from the collection and would like your permission to surplus these materials. 52 juvenile nonfiction books that contain outdated information. They will be replaced with newer books on the subjects. 57 juvenile chapter books that haven't circulated in 5 or more years. Juvenile picture books that are outdated. They will be replaced with updated or newer books that have been donated to the library. Juvenile books that are, 37 juvenile books that are water damaged and smell like mildew. All right. So those are what is listed in this, but they also provided us with their collection development policy on weeding materials. I guess I could read it. I'll read it since this was a topic at a previous board meeting. Weeding the collection. In order to maintain a collection which is current, reliable, in good condition, well-used, and relates to the needs and interests of the residents of Marshfield, materials are withdrawn on a systematic and continuing basis. Standard practice to withdraw materials is 3 years without any circulation. Some exceptions may apply, such as materials of historical interest or written by Marshfield residents. Materials are discarded when they are judged to be dated, inaccurate, seldom used, in poor condition, or otherwise no longer appropriate. The Ventress staff do their best to repair damaged materials when possible. However, in order to have space for the new materials and keep the collection browsable, it is necessary to continuously weed the collection. Okay. Any questions or comments, Steve?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments, Eric?
Yeah, it's, I know from, sure the Town Library needs to purge some books, and I know a few months back, she was doing the same thing, and I asked her reasons in regards to, say, like the 52 juvenile nonfiction books that contain outdated information. I was asking in the past in regards to what she considered outdated information, because she's now replaced with newer books on the subjects, and I'm concerned as politics is potentially being an issue here. And it's something that I never got an answer on the last time, so and I get the feeling it's going on now potentially. So I'm going to say no to this.
You want to expand on that?
Sure.
at all?
What
As
do you
far
wanna
as the you just.
Oh, I
mentioned
believe,
that
I believe,
there are politics in
yes, I believe that her line of thought is not the same as mine in regards to certain things, and I have a little concern in regards to what, considering she never answered what I requested a few months ago in regards to her purging books, in regards to explaining what is outdated and what's considered outdated information and all that, so it's,
Okay.
I have concerns.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, please.
If I could just, Mr.
Sure.
Kelly? If you send me a email of stuff, answers and questions that you want answered, I'll get you those answers from her.
All right, Mike, that's fair.
Do you want me to wait?
If,
I don't think so. But
if you would like to, Lynn, that's your decision.
I think that I'm comfortable moving forward.
Okay.
This is not, but whatever input you get, perhaps we can have that discussion the next time we have something similar with surplus.
Yeah,
from the- Okay.
I'll remind Mike tomorrow and see if he can get that
Yeah.
information, with her thoughts.
And then we can
I'll-
just add it
I'll date
next
it and
time.
everything, sure, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So the board moves to approve the request of Cindy Marcoux, Library Director, to declare surplus and dispose of the following aforementioned items read into the record. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right,
Motion.
excuse me, nay.
Okay, motion passes 2-1.
Getting really
I was a little like, wait, what?
I caught myself.
We need another recess?
No, we're going good, we're going good, don't recess
Where's
it.
your candy bag?
I know.
What the heck? Halloween's coming, I expect good stuff.
So that was a nay.
That was a nay. Okay, 2-1 on number 13. Okay, number 14 is a discussion and vote on request to declare items as surplus treasurer collector. Okay. Want to inform you that there are a few old tables in the hallway and some very old file cabinets in the front entryway at the back of the building that are no longer in use. As we understand the town of Marshfield is preparing for early voting, we thought it would be helpful to let you know that we've asked around and unfortunately no one has expressed interest in these items. Per section 15G of chapter 30B, we are able to dispose of tangible supplies that are no longer useful and may choose to donate to a local charity or nonprofit. The tables which were used for typewriters may have a resale value of approximately $5 to $10 each. And old file cabinets may have a salvage value of approximately $20 to $25 each. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sean Strobel. Any questions or comments?
Oh, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. The board moves to approve the request of Sean Strobel, our treasurer collector, to declare surplus and dispose of the aforementioned items. The items can be donated to a local charity or nonprofit organization. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to approve the request of our treasurer.
Okay. Number 15, discussion and vote on application for temporary common vic license for Levitate Flannel Jam. The following people have submitted applications and paid for common victulars licenses for Flannel Jam Music Festival. All have received or are in the process of obtaining food handler permits from the Board of Health. Slack Tide Coffee Roasters, help me with that one.
Sing Serati.
Cheese Louise, Hometown Pokey, probably, Nor'easter Pizza Company, Gonzalez Food Truck, The Sausage Guy, The Filling Station Food Truck, The Potato Caboose, and Rope Marine. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments? No. The board moves to approve common vic license for the aforementioned business for the Flannel Jam Music Festival that will take place at the fairgrounds on Saturday, October 12th, 2024, from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Applications have been submitted and the fees have been paid, and these businesses are in the process of obtaining their food handlers permits, pending sign-off from MPD, MFD, and Board of Health. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to approve the common victual licenses for Flannel Jam.
We're getting there, guys. Number 16 is a discussion and vote on annual board committee reappointments and other annual reappointments for terms expiring on June 30th, 2024. The following people whose current terms expire on June 30th, 2024 have requested reappointment for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, and have submitted signed Corey forms. Larry Keene, Zoning Board of Appeals, Grover Hensley, Zoning Board of Appeals, Mac Brothers, Zoning Board of Appeals, Associate Member. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I do. Mike?
Yes.
It's one thing I was kind of wondering about, especially, was it 2 weeks ago, when we put a couple of police officers on the force, and I'm thinking, should have probably had them in the room in case we had questions for them and all that and everything. And I'm not saying everybody, but, I guess you two as well should be, it shouldn't be just directed at Mike, I should say, but, I mean, do you think we should have these people that are applying for these, they want to get back on the boards, whatever, in here, so in case we have questions, and when we have somebody that comes up, we have the paperwork in front of us, so we get a little background on them and all that. But like Larry, Keene, Grover, and Mac, they're reappointing, but we don't get paperwork in regards to their background and all that. So I'm just wondering if we should start asking people, would you mind coming in case there's questions for you? And as well as, even if they're just reappointing, especially me where I'm new, fill out new background paperwork on them, so I have an idea of who they are and everything like that, what they do for work and all that,
We can do that. I mean, normally, these people would have been appointed before June 30th. These just slipped through the cracks, and they weren't reappointed until now. When the board does like 50, 60 at a time, usually we did them in like May and June.
Well, I mean, we're appointing people, I think, every meeting just about. So regardless if they slip through the cracks, I mean, they're here. I'm just saying that, I would like to get a little more background on them, and if, it would be nice to ask.
We can
them,
get that for you,
it was
sure.
like,
Yeah.
To ask them, hey, in case any of the board members have questions, would you mind attending the meeting? And the whole thing is to tell them, look, if you're 18, we'll try and get you to be number 2. or
Sure,
something like that.
yeah.
So other than that.
We can do
I mean,
that.
I just look at that, we put our time in. I know they put their time on the boards, but,
Yeah.
just in case there's questions to be asked. That's
Sure.
what I'm looking at. So,
Are you asking us to do that for this case?
no, I am not.
Okay.
I mean, just going forward, I just like, if we were looking for board members, if people are getting reappointed,
Okay.
if, fill out new forms and send it in, so at least, we can all get reacquainted with it and
Okay.
a little background on them. So that's all I'm asking.
Okay. So since we're having the conversation about folks joining boards, I recall almost every meeting we had a plea for people to fill out applications. So I'd like to remember to do that and add that to the agenda next time and every time thereafter, so that we can keep the ball rolling as far as, because it's pretty slim in our application process. So.
But I think we've done good. I think
Yeah,
we
I
only
think
have
we
like
have
8 vacancies. At one time, we had like 20-something
I know.
vacancies.
So is the select, we'll discuss it next
Yeah.
time. It's getting late.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, the board moves to reappoint the following people whose current terms expired on June 30th, 2024, and have requested a reappointment for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, who have submitted signed query forms: Larry Keene, ZBA, Grover Hensley, ZBA, and Mac Brothers, ZBA, Associate Member. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote to reappoint.
Okay. So number 17 is a discussion and vote to authorize and consent to the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust to purchase property on 115 Revere Street on terms acceptable to the trust and in accordance with the AH rider. So disclosure, I am on that board, and I am a voting member of 7.
Madam Chair, do you want me to
Yes,
jump
if
in?
you,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I could go through some of this, but why don't you take?
So, I'm also a member of the, voting member of the trust also, but under the trust, in the section 52.19, the trust, whenever they're gonna purchase anything, needs to get sign-off from the select board, authorization and consent, so that's why this is here. Now, this particular property was a MHOP piece of property That was the Marshfield Housing Partnership many years back, and was involved with the MHOP program, where they gave people, depending on the size bedrooms, how much money. I think these folks got like 120 or 125,000 because it was a 3-bedroom house, and that helped it to be affordable. And then this house was listed on the inventory. These folks have had some personal injuries. There's personal issues with their family. There's been some issues with the property, and they are not even living in the house. And they want to be able to sell the house. And under the agreement, we want to keep it so we have the right of first refusal. So the trust wants to purchase that property. There's a formula for calculating what it is. Karen did send me the figure, and the price is $340,981. Then when the trust buys it, we could have the house repaired, or we can partner with a group like Habitat to do the repairs. Then the house gets sold to another family that qualifies, for the housing, and then it would stay on the affordable housing list.
So can you just add, so this particular house has that restriction on it
That is correct.
within the deed? Okay. Anything else that we need to include? No.
It has the AH rider.
The AH rider, yeah, thank you.
Which stands for affordable housing.
Thank you. It is getting late. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I do. It's already an affordable unit, right?
That's correct.
So why would,
Because they're not allowed to sell it on market. A house like this, if you sold on the market, probably sell for $599,000, and then it's no
Yeah, but
longer affordable.
And they get the,
yeah, but if it's already an affordable unit, they must be restricted in regards to selling it beyond a certain price, I would imagine, right?
that's what
They,
we're saying.
right, but they want to sell it, and we told them the agreement says they have to sell it. We have to buy it, or they can sell it, and then we would lose that affordable restriction.
So it's an affordable unit, but they could sell it for
If
market
they-
value?
They could sell it for market value, and then we would lose the affordability on that.
But it's already, I mean, according to the legal description, it's already stated as an affordable unit. I think, what was it, Mass, is it the Mass Housing?
No, it is. It's listed in our inventory, yeah. It's an affordable unit.
So how are they able to sell it for market value if it's an affordable unit? I imagine they can only sell it for X amount of dollars more than maybe what they bought it, or it's what it's worth, right?
They have an agreement with us, but they could go to court to get their, I can't get into their personal financial matters in a public meeting.
I get that. And the other concern is, when you look at the land area according to the property card, it doesn't even have a land area on it. How much acres or less acres it is. But there is a land value, and you don't know what that comes up with. So, I mean, are they paying property taxes on this?
Yes, they
property?
pay taxes, yep, at a reduced rate because it's an affordable unit.
Yeah.
I believe it's a little less than a half acre.
I thought it was, yeah.
You think it's a quarter acre?
I think
You would
it
know
was like
better.
a quarter of an acre. I don't have the.
I don't
obviously,
have
I've
it.
got
I
to
don't
look.
remember, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I gotta find out more about this, because it's already an affordable unit. I'm just trying to figure out, I shouldn't say figure out, but I guess I just need more information in
Well, see,
regards to how this is all functioning.
The trust would want to buy it back. It needs a substantial amount of work in it. So that's why we would partner, the trust would partner with a group. This is one of the things that Habitat does, is that they would bring a work crew to make the necessary repairs, so then another family could go into that house. That family would have to buy it, so it zeroes out the cost.
Yeah, like I said,
Just keeps it affordable and keeps it in the inventory.
well, that's the whole thing, is that it says it's affordable, an affordable unit, so I don't understand how they could actually sell it for potentially market value when it's already in the legal description, I think, under the, was it MHCD or something like that,
EOHLC.
well, yeah, the new name, I think of it, yeah, and all that, so, all right, but I'm good where I'm at anyways.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add? You already, based on his questions or comments, or you're good?
Are you just wondering, Eric, who currently owns it?
No, not who. I mean, I think it's already established who, it's just that it's already established affordable unit and, like, HLC, so the only thing is that I can only imagine that they can only, if they wanted to sell it, they can only sell it not at market rate, so that's why I'd have to get more information, because I don't understand if it's already an affordable unit, why the housing trust would want to purchase it, in my opinion. So, that's where I'm at.
Got it.
I just don't know, I have a couple things to say, but based on the legality, I think that I'm comfortable moving forward based on, I know there's a restriction, and I know this was an MHOP, and this is part of our authority, so.
Bob is actually tuning into the meeting if you wanted to ask him any questions. He says that the house is not being purchased at a market rate.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's what he
Correct.
he
That's
referenced.
340 is the affordability price. It's calculated with the formula. And our housing coordinator gave us that price.
It is, I will say it is a little bit complicated, but it's it is spelled out to the extreme. And the calculations are spelled out.
I would say
spelled
this,
out to the-
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
if you want to hold off on it for the moment, so I can potentially maybe gather a little more information, so be it. If not, then, do what you
Okay.
want to do.
I know these people are looking for an answer based on my recollection.
I mean, don't feel
Yeah.
forced by this.
No,
Don't
okay.
feel-
No,
don't
I
feel
just,
forced by a
want to make
situation
sure that
you know,
you have the information that you need before we move forward, but I will
you feel you have all the
entertain a
information, then
motion.
so-
I do, and if Steve is, then I will entertain a motion and take it from there. So the board moves to authorize and consent to the Marshfield Affordable Housing Trust to purchase the MHOP property located at 115 Revere Street on terms acceptable to the trust and in accordance with the AH rider to preserve the affordability according to the formula. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Nay.
Motion passes 2-1.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 23rd, 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the meeting minutes from September 23rd.
Okay, the time is 9:05. Seeing no further business on the agenda, the board moves to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.